You're watching Oilersnation Radio.
Oilersnation Radio, episode 95,306.
Million.
Glad you're here. Million?
I
Wow.
think so.
Man, we do a lot of podcasts. Unbelievable, really.
I want a podcast 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm. It's boring without games.
Sure is.
The Oilers finally play tomorrow after a 6-day break.
I was going to say, there's actually been a decent amount of headlines considering they haven't played in a long
We're going to
time.
get to it. Most of them surround Shohei Ohtani.
You're rocking the Ohtani jersey today.
I'm doing my part.
Is
You
yours
did your
in-
part the other day.
Is yours in Japanese too?
No, just the straight English. We all got different ones that night.
Yeah, we did.
Tyler got the Japanese. Jay got the authentic.
Shit off your back.
I got Big Red.
Big Red. If you don't chew Big Red, then fuck you.
That's 2 Talladega Night references in the last 10 minutes.
Attaboy.
I said
Wow.
the Mountain Dew one. I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
Not first or last. Make
I'm
it
going
3.
to come at you like a spider monkey. That's 4.
There's 4. All right. Tyler, really quick, just because I'm curious. What is the latest on Shohei Ohtani?
It sounds like he made the flight from LA to Dunedin to check out the Blue Jays facility out there. Their like pitching lab and all that kind of stuff in their spring training facility. So you don't make a cross-country flight for a team unless you're serious about them.
But by,
Especially to Dunedin.
but by speaking that into the universe, have you not upset him because you've leaked it?
Well,
Well,
listen.
yes. But then today, the Dodgers
Yeah.
manager, Dave Roberts, came out and was like, yeah, we met with him. It was cool to talk.
A couple days ago, it went well, and it was just a pleasure to spend some time with him.
Leaks.
End quote. Hey,
Something
by his own rules, he should be disqualified.
And at least the Jays aren't the ones leaking it. People just tracked the flights. That's how they figured out he was in Dunedin.
He's actually going to be a river hawk by the end of the week.
Ooh,
Wait,
You heard it here
what
first.
Do you mean?
People, I mean, one, Ross Atkins refused to tell anyone where he was when he
Right.
did his media
which
veil.
was great.
And then there was Ben Nicholson Smith quote tweeted it. There's a Jays fan who was tracking the flights, and there was one flight that, one second, let me find it here. Sunday evening, a private jet goes from Anaheim to Clearwater, Florida by the Jays complex. Monday afternoon, the same jet flies from Clearwater back to Anaheim. Monday evening, about 50 minutes, 50, after Ross Atkins ends his avail, a different private jet goes from Clearwater back to Nashville.
How do you even find that information?
Flight information is freely available, but it takes a certain kind of person to
To hunt
dig
it
that
down.
deep
Like,
and find that spot. Yeah, it's that's an interesting level. I don't think hockey, have we ever had that in hockey where
Yeah, it was Mike Babcock. When Mike Babcock signed as the coach in Toronto. That was actually a Leafs Nation exclusive at the time.
there was also the other thing sticking in Toronto when was John Tavares flying?
Stamkos, wasn't it?
Wasn't it like teams lining up at hotels to like meet with John Tavares or something like that?
I remember Steve Stamkos.
I thought it was Stamkos
Stamkos
that got
was like-
because
that
they
rolled
also,
up
I remember the Leafs, like it was basically cap circumvention at the point because we're
Yeah.
like, isn't the CEO of Canadian Tire also sitting in all those meetings or something like that?
Being like, hey, Leafs can give you 10 mil a year. Canadian Tire will kick in another 1. And it's like, what?
There's fuckery afoot.
That'd be like if the Oilers just went around and were like, Rexall Pharmacy will pay you to be the face of the thing. And Daryl's like, huh?
Why can't they do that? They're like, hey, Connor, guess what? You now own Rexall pharmacies across the country.
Mhm.
I go, wow, neato. All the ibuprofen I can handle.
That'd be good for his. It would have been good for his injuries.
The other day, you said you were out on the show, hey. So
Oh, I'm back in. I'm
All right.
so back in.
where are we at? 50-50, 60-40, 75,
Well, if you're a
25?
believer in following the betting odds, the
Go ahead.
Jays overnight or within the span of a day went from plus 250 to plus 150.
Hmm.
So I'll say we're at 35% chance he's a Jay, 60% chance he's a Dodger, 5% chance he goes somewhere else.
There's a 100% chance that I am still in Wendy's Daily Face-Off Survivor Pool. Daily Face-Off Survivor.com is how you go to play it. Today is a very interesting one. I'm still in. It's day 2. Furthest I've been is day 3. So I don't want to get too confident here today.
Fair.
My options today, I feel, are poor. They're tricky, I should say. Rangers over 3.5 goals. That's my pick.
Me too. I'm with you. I won yesterday on the Kraken shots on goal prop. Half the field was gone. It was cut from like 833 to 400 and something, or 856 to 433. I'm still alive. I'm going Rangers over 3.5 goals.
I also had Kraken over 25.5 shots. So you know what? We're still in it. We are still in it. Chicken strips and French toast sticks. That's what I want. That's what I want my prize to be.
How would you describe that?
The chicken strips and French toast sticks.
Yeah.
Would you say they're surreptitious?
I would describe them as surreptitious.
Sweet and salty.
Sounds like a bit of a dinosaur. Dipidus, the surreptitious prowls through the bush of the Edmonton Wendy's parking lot.
And the
Bush
English
of the
voice
end.
sells it for me.
You had an idea there, and it really
trailed.
trailed off as the end
Yeah.
came around.
Yeah. And he smothers his mouth and
Don't think David
Toast,
Attenborough has to worry
toast.
about his job being taken, but
I think
That man needs to live forever because he's put me to sleep more than
very
anyone
true.
else on this planet.
Beautiful
Anyway.
voice.
Play the Daily Faceoff Wendy's Survivor Pool for your chance to win prizes weekly and a grand prize of $5,000. Sign up at, you ready for the link, Dan?
I am.
dailyfaceoffsurvivor.com. It's easy. dailyfaceoffsurvivor.com.
Or you just go to the top of dailyfaceoff.com, top right-hand corner.
That is right. Check out our socials. The link is there as well. Still in it, me and Tyler. We need New York to get 4.
My brother-in-law was one of the 7 people who won last week. Out of 800 and some, he was one of the 7 who went 4 for 4.
Wow.
What do you get?
What do you win?
I didn't ask him, actually. I wasn't sure what our prize was last week. It might have been free French toast sticks and chicken strips, though.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Tonight, the Rangers play the Ottawa Senators. They can get 4 goals against the Senators.
Totally.
Jonas Corposalo? Nope. I don't know who the other goalie is.
Anton Forsberg.
Anton Forsberg? Nope.
Matt Soldberg. Isn't it?
Sogard.
Sogard.
Mad Sogard, yeah. Should we get into the delicious debate?
Hit me, Tyler. What do you got?
Has Philip Broberg played his last game as an Edmonton Oiler?
Today on Low Tide, the lowdown with Low Tide over at Sports 1440, Daniel Nugent-Bowman from The Athletic, and I'm paraphrasing here, says he thinks Broberg may have played his last game in Edmonton and that a trade is imminent. A little more color from our friend Frank Saravalli over at Daily Faceoff. Understand the Oilers granted permission for Philip Broberg's camp to seek a trade. Sounds like there has been some solid interest on that front. Edmonton isn't interested in getting a pick back. They'd like a player. So you have to find a player in a similar situation. Tyler, has Philip Broberg played his last game with the Oilers?
It's always tough to say he's played his last game because he's an injury away from being their 6th best defenseman, right? So I'm not going to go ahead and say he's played his last game, but I will say he will not be an Oiler by the end of the season is how I will answer this. I think the writing's clearly on the wall. These two sides are heading towards a split. Broberg, there's just not enough opportunity for him here in Edmonton, right? He's past the point. It's been what? This is 5th year since being drafted. Third coach. It's his 5th year since being drafted. At some point, you can't just keep doing let him go play 20 plus minutes a night in Bakersfield, especially when you look around the league and see other young defensemen who are picked in the top 10 jumping right into the NHL and being good.
Do you think it's a lack of opportunity or a lack of skill to go along with the opportunity?
So we asked Luke Gazdick this today on Oilers Nation Every Day, and he said Todd McClellan once hit him with a great line. Gazdick was upset about his ice time. And McClellan said, Luke, it's chicken and the egg. Are you not playing good because I'm not playing you enough? Or am I not playing you enough because you're not playing good?
And what was his answer?
And Gazdick said it caused him to sit there and be like, oh, yeah, like, I don't know if I'm going to get 3 or 11 minutes tonight. I need to make the best of every time I'm on the ice. And like Vinny Desharnais came out of nowhere to some extent and grabbed a spot in this lineup and has really never let it go. He's earned the trust of multiple coaches now. He's given them solid minutes and played that role of a third pairing D-man really well. Not perfectly, but really well. Broberg's never come in and forced the Oilers' hand, made them be like, this guy has to keep playing. And for that reason, like, again, they're a team that's in win now mode. You can't just shovel minutes to Philip Broberg and watch him, get smothered by the other team and just go, well, it's good for his development because it's not going to help you win hockey games. So unfortunately, I just think the Oilers' timeline and where Broberg's at in his development, it just doesn't line up anymore.
It is interesting to look at the numbers before I get to Dan and Liam on Philip Broberg. We're just going to compare apples to apples here. Philip Broberg and Vinny Desharnais, because Tyler brought him up. Over the course of 3 seasons, Philip Broberg has played in 79 games. He has 2 goals, 9 assists for 11 points, average of 12.36. Liam, you writing this down?
I got it all written down.
Perfect. Vinny Desharnais, meanwhile, over the course of 2 seasons, has played 56 games, has 1 goal, 8 assists for 9 points, while averaging 13.44. So like Tyler said, I do believe Vinny Desharnais he's been given the opportunity and he's grabbed it at a higher level. But to answer the question now, will Philip Broberg be around by the end of the season? I turn over to Nation Dan now that he's got a little bit more context.
Yeah, I just I don't know. It's a guy. There's a guy that Ken Holland brought in. At the time of the pick, I think Oiler fans were not happy with it. Overall, it looked like he reached for Broberg when there was other opportunities there. And Liam has has the draft year brought up here, so I'll let him speak to that. But I find it hard to believe that Ken Holland is gonna be willing to part with him at this point. I think that everything Tyler said is correct, that he just doesn't have a spot in this lineup. And so if you can go and find him a spot elsewhere, sure. But I just don't. I personally haven't. I've looked around the league and I just don't see the options that really make me excited about a move for him. So I think he'll still be on this team.
Liam?
Yeah, I think he'll be gone because this is just something hard to come back from, I think, is a fair way to say, right? When
Would you ask for a trade?
Well, did he ask for a trade or did they allow? Is it kind of been
that would be pretty mutual. Like the Oilers don't just call up a player out of nowhere and be like, "Hey, go look for a trade."
Yeah,
that usually comes from the
agent,
player, and the agent will go, "Hey, we want out," and the Oilers will say, "If you think you can find someone, be our guest. Like you do the work, and we'll do you a solid."
So yeah, I think with that would mean he's more than likely out of the picture in Edmonton. And to be fair to him, like he shouldn't be in this role. He should have better opportunity to go and play somewhere. And I don't think it's necessarily all on him, but in the sense of the others have had an opportunity to improve their defense multiple times throughout his tenure, with adding a Kulak, adding a Ekholm, right? Yep. Both on the left side.
The other thing too,
they just don't have time to wait around and see what he can be.
Ekholm, Nurse, and Kulak, the three lefties above him on the depth chart, are all under contract for this year and two more. Like it's not like you can hold on to Broberg this year and then next September be like, well, we'll pencil him in the third line spot, unless you're trading Brett Kulak.
See, my hope for Broberg was that, yes, you're correct that those guys all have term on the left side. My hope for Broberg was that he would have forced his way into a spot, made Brett Kulak tradable. That just hasn't happened.
Dream, yeah.
It just hasn't happened. This is the third coach. Like, I take a little bit of umbrage when people say that the organization didn't give him a chance. This is the third coach that isn't playing him.
Yeah. And it's the second season in a row we've had him penciled in as our sixth defenseman, and then he has not been able to grab that.
That's the thing. It's not like last season either he was able to establish himself or anything. Like there was an opportunity there when the others didn't have Ekholm. And he played 46 games and he still didn't make himself a staple in this lineup.
Can I give you guys some extra numbers? Like you talked about the point production, BM. So since the start of last season, and this includes this little run this year too, both Broberg and Desharnais have appeared in 56 games. Broberg's played 613 minutes. Desharnais has played 635. Broberg's, so again, almost identical. Like that's a 22-minute difference. That's not significant over that large of a sample size. Broberg has been on the ice for 31 goals against. Vinny's been on the ice for 23. That's 8 less goals, even though Vinny's played 22 more minutes. And Broberg started in the defensive zone 181 times. Vinny started in the D zone 202 times. So he's played more, started in the D zone more, and given up 8 less goals. And that's not like, again, 8 out of 31, 864. That's like 25% less, I think. I like how VM's eyes get wide when he knows I'm trying to do math. And then the other side of that too is like, go look at the penalty kill numbers over the last couple of seasons here as well, and see the difference in minutes there too. Like again, when Vinny's been on the ice, less goals have been going in over the last 2 seasons. And
harder to play against. I know that's like not tracked in the spreadsheets.
Yeah. Broberg, in the last 56 games, Broberg's played 56.06 on the PK. Vinny's played 126.07. So over double the PK time in the same amount of games. Like there's one guy that coaches trust. There's another guy who hasn't proven he can consistently bring it at the NHL level. And I just think that's not going to change at any point this year. I don't think Broberg is magically going to step forward and make this insane step.
It's actually interesting to, sorry, Dan. It's actually interesting to note that since Woodcroft has been removed and Knobloch's come in, his minutes have actually gone down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like some people will say your Desharnais comparison doesn't work because it's left versus right, and some people will say because they play different style of games. But my counterpoint to that would be Broberg knows he plays a different game than Desharnais, and he is still not as effective as Desharnais is at his game. So, yeah, I mean, this guy had every opportunity to be a top 6 defenseman in the NHL with this team, and like you said, Begmo, kick guys out of that lineup that are ahead of him, but he just didn't do it.
Vinny Desharnais did.
Yep. Yeah. Of the top 17 picks in his draft class, Only 3 players have played fewer games than Philip Broberg, which is 79 games. And only 2 players have fewer points than him in the top 16, and one of them is Spencer Knight.
You don't expect goalies to get a lot of points generally?
Spencer Knight actually has 1 assist to his credit. It's tough to look at his draft
What
class.
season did that come in? Or what season? Because Broberg has no points right now. Is he getting outscored by a goalie?
He had 8 points last year, or 9.
It wasn't. Well, I don't know when that season, like point game, but it's tough to look back in this draft class and think what could have been. Cam York, Cole Caulfield, Newhook, Peyton Krebs, Matt Boldy, Zegras, Spencer Knight. Could have been pretty good.
Not great. I just remember we were having a draft party that night, and I remember, I don't know that we've ever thrown a draft party where the reaction to a top 10 pick was as divided in the room as it was that day.
Tepid, yeah.
Some people were like, yeah, defenseman, Swedish defenseman, he's got wheels. Like, yes. And then other people were like, nah, a lot of people had him going in the second round.
And a lot of people looked at the numbers that Zegras and Caulfield were putting up.
Caulfield had 50 plus goals that draft season.
Like, again, I at the time I understood what they were trying to do, right? Like, if Ken Holland could get a top 4 defenseman left shot, because it was the year after Bouchard too, and you're thinking, okay, you have Connor and Leon. The offense is always going to take care of itself. If you have this Broberg-Bouchard duo that can run your blue line for the next decade, you're laughing, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're such a complete team. It was a big gamble, though. And when you take big gambles in the position that Ken Holland's in and it doesn't pay off, you're going to get criticized for it. And again, how many goals did Caulfield score in his draft year?
43 plus 29.
The Caulfield thing is a little bit of an asterisk there because there was 4 other players from his team selected ahead of him.
Yeah, that too. People didn't know.
But Caulfield also fell.
Yeah.
Like
he was supposed to be a top 10 guy.
I mean, at the end of the day, you could make that argument, Dan. But
no, I'm just saying. Like,
Turcotte has 12 career games played and not scored a point yet, and he was 5th overall.
Matt Boldy would have been an incredible pick.
But like, you look at it now, and it's
Zegras
like
would have been a fun pick.
Caulfield.
Zegras was
This is the problem. Like with the draft, you honestly can't think too far ahead. You've got to think a bit in the moment,
especially with the way guys are jumping up now.
And like that was one of those ones where you always hear best player available, best player available. They did not take the best player available.
No, and I think he was projected, if I remember, to go maybe like 12 to 20 range, something like that. I think he was the guy that everyone was like,
and maybe they got intel. Maybe they got intel ahead of time that he was going to get grabbed. Like, who knows? But again, like, yeah, it's tough to get that revisionist history. I don't envy being a scout.
It is interesting because I tried to find a tweet that I put out that night on draft day. Wasn't from my account. It wasn't from the current Oilers Nation account. So it's one of our lost accounts over the years where one of our friends over in Sweden that we did some partnerships with, where we brought Swedes over to Edmonton as part of like a reverse nation vacation, texted Jay. I'll never forget that night. He goes, well, the Oilers just drafted a maybe 3rd pairing defenseman with a top 10 pick.
Sweet. Wow, he was right.
So I tweeted that and the reaction was not great.
They have.
So let's assume that he is leaving.
Yeah.
Frank says the Oilers want a player. I understand that. They don't want to pick. What kind of player do you get?
Well, a lot of people have quickly made the connection to Columbus, right? Just because the Oilers have been scouting them a lot recently. Like, listen, you're not dumping Philip Broberg for Spencer Martin. I even think like Philip Broberg for James Reimer isn't a great deal just based off the fact you're giving up on Broberg's upside for a guy who's going to be here for a couple of months. And some people have brought up the fact that Kent Johnson is a name who's been getting healthy, scratched in Columbus, sent down to the minors. Like, if you're looking to add some offense to your bottom 6, Kent Johnson could maybe be that, but he was the 5th overall pick a couple years ago. You're adding in that deal.
Broberg was the 8th.
In 2021? I thought he was 2020.
2019.
Broberg, 2019.
Yeah, okay, sorry. So 2 years later, Kent Johnson was a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
Also, he scored 46 points in 98 games. Like, you're adding if you think you're getting Kent Johnson out of Columbus. Also, Columbus has 1 million defensemen. They don't need Philip Broberg or presumably want Philip Broberg. I don't see that as a fit. Some people have brought Morgan Frost and Philly. Maybe Philly wants to take a stab at a defenseman with some upside.
Frost would actually be decent because he was good last year, but he's been bad this year.
He's expensive, so you wouldn't be able to afford it unless they
$2
keep half
million.
his money.
And do they want to do that?
Probably not.
Probably not. I feel like they want to keep that those slots for their bigger tickets if they wanted to get rid of guys.
And they already have guys like Cam York and stuff. They have young blue liners. I don't really see a team out there outside of like San Jose that's a slam dunk fit.
I wonder if Montreal could be.
But go look at their young D man.
No, I'm looking.
Who do they have as lefties on cap friendly?
Do you think it has to be a D?
I'm just looking at teams out there who would want to take the chance on Broberg.
Gotcha.
The blue line on the left side is Michael Matheson, Jaden Struble, Caden Gooley, and
I love
Matthias
strudels.
Matthias
They're delicious.
Nolinda. I mean, maybe like
There's no land for him to live on.
I just wonder, and I don't like this idea, but the last couple of years, the Oilers have been in these rumors of adding like tougher guys, right? Like, do you remember when they were like talking
Nick
about
Delorier and stuff like that? Yeah.
Reeves last year too? There's been Patrick Maroon.
Don't
like,
you say it, Liam. Don't you say Josh's name.
Josh Anderson?
Yeah.
No, I would
Okay.
never. I'm not that foolish. But like, I wonder if like they look at Montreal and they're like Michael Pizzetta or something like that. Like, I don't know if that's the guy, but I'm just saying like Ken Holland has made it very apparent that he wants to add more physicality and character to his bottom six.
Oh God,
it would be ridiculous,
Yeah.
but I could totally see that happening too.
I just think if you're gonna give up on Broberg, you need to go get someone who can score. Like you need someone with skill. Like going out and finding a hardworking bottom sixer who's gonna kill penalties. That can't be the return here.
Well, they just sent him down to Laval, but what about an Arbor Jack guy?
Did they send him down to
They
Laval?
just
sent him
did.
down?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I just saw it actually from George LaRock. He tweeted about it. That was a mistake.
Yeah. I
but-
thought he was injured.
But no, yeah, he's down in Laval right now. So
Well, that is, yeah, sure, we'll take him.
You take
I don't know.
Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi. Yeah.
I would like him, yeah. But is he not just Vinny?
Well,
Well,
we like
he's-
Vinny, don't we?
he's a smaller version of
But my
Vinny,
point
for
is like
sure.
that's why you don't go get him because you have him. We have Arbor Jack guy at home. I know he doesn't have, I know he doesn't have the same fanfare, but like there's probably like
And
again.
they fought similar to the Monahan and Sam Gagne and Ryan Nugent Hopkins debate. How do they rehash that? With that said,
Desharnais.
do you just go get Monahan and ask Montreal to retain and maybe give him a third round pick or something?
Broberg and a fourth for Monahan at
Monahan.
50% retained. I'd do that.
Does that math work?
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, it
come
would.
pretty close.
Monahan's only 1.9 mil.
So if
Really?
they retain $1 million and his UFA at the end.
And just think of how bad it would hurt Calgary's feelings.
Oh, dude, to watch for them this spring, knock on wood, to watch like Sean Monahan scoring big goals for the Oilers. Oh, yeah.
Another thing to this as well is if the Oilers weren't to get a defenseman back, they could just call up like a Niemelainen or something for a temporary hold.
Yeah, Benny Glees. I know you don't like Ben Gleason,
I
Liam,
just
but,
I'm not that I don't like him.
but they
personally
have
don't
other
like him.
seventh defenseman is your point.
Yeah, like Niemelainen's played games. Like, you don't have to experiment with Gleason. That would be my counter. But to be honest, like I don't
Why
know.
got
Where
a
he
cheeky look
goes.
on your face? What Ben Gleason do to you?
I just think like this guy. I'm pretty sure he's been scratched in Bakersfield this year. Like,
Oh, is that not good? Do you not want that?
No, I don't want that. But the other player, and this one feels like a bit of a long shot, but Taylor Radish only makes $758,000.
I like that name, and you know Chicago's probably interested in getting younger.
Yeah, like he's 25, turning 26. So
Old man. You know? Almost time to put him out to pasture.
Miracle that he's even able to get out of bed in the morning.
Unbelievable. So brave. So brave.
like, I wonder. I don't know. We could speculate on names all day. It's just such.
I like that
loose
Radish
rumor.
idea.
Thank you. Ryan Donato, keep $1 million, $2 million.
I don't know about Donato.
Yeah, I thought that one's a stretch. I should have stopped.
Kind of. But Taylor Radish is like a dude. Like, how many goals did he have last year?
20 something.
Like, dude,
Yeah, man,
that's
If you can pull
legit.
that off, you do it.
Yeah, for sure.
100%. If you're listening to this right now, hit us up on Radio Podcast, Twitter, and Instagram. Two questions for you. One, is his time in Edmonton winding down? Yes or no? Two, what kind of return do you think they would get? Knowing that Frank Saravalli said, and I trust Frank, Edmonton does not want a draft pick here. They do not want a draft pick.
I know some people, and BM, I also know you wanted to save this for later in the show, but we had a lot of comments on Owen every day today. Broberg for Barrie, 50% retained.
I'm in.
But one, you still can't afford it. Two, there's
Where's
nowhere
it go?
there's nowhere to play Tyson Barrie. Like, there's a reason they were okay getting rid of him. And come on,
Tyson Barrie has also been granted permission to seek a trade out of Nashville, is why Tyler brought that up. In case you didn't know, in case you didn't watch ONE today.
Which is silly of you. You should watch every day, Monday
Yeah.
to Friday.
It it's interesting that it makes the Ekholm trade look that much better, given that, we're a half a year out and Barry's like, I got to get the fuck out of here.
Especially after what happened in the Bukestad trade, where the Oilers lost a pick.
And Michael Kesselring.
Kesselring looks pretty good, and they got Bukestad back.
Yes.
Yeah, the Yotes did good on that deal, eh?
Yeah, they did.
But yeah, the Ekholm and Barrie one looks good. And I think this was always inevitable that Barrie would eventually be out of Nashville, right? Like, why would they really want him with Roman Josi there? Like, you can't get your maximum potential out of him, which is also, in a way, a little silly that they took him in the first place, right? Like, if you know you're going to...
But they did it because they wanted the pick and Reed Schaefer
yeah,
and a
yeah,
warm body.
I get that, too, but, like, say, I don't know, maybe Fogle was on the table. Maybe it doesn't even make the money work. I don't even know, but it just seems weird that they took a player who they couldn't even get maximum input from to then get maximum value out of when they wanted to trade him in a year.
Maybe they thought Tyson Barrie would play well, and this year at the deadline they'd keep 50%, get another second for him, right?
I wonder
for sure.
I wonder who's going to pick up Barrie last year of his contract.
What about the Leafs? Is he not John Klingberg, but a little bit better?
He's way better.
Yeah, but don't the Leafs feel like they need more? Like, aren't they going after the Tanevs and
they need like guys who can actually defend.
Defensemen?
You're probably right.
I don't mind the pickup. I think to replace Klingberg straight up, it's a good spot.
And he might just be straight shell shocked from his first tour there. Didn't exactly go well.
Well, I mean, who are the worst power plays in the NHL, but are teams that want to contend? Washington stinks, but like they have John Carlson, so they're probably not going to touch him. St. Louis has a billion defensemen. Pittsburgh just runs Letang, Carlson, Barrie on one power play unit.
Hell yeah.
3 D-men. Everyone else is going to
3
one
D-men, Sid and Gino. That's all you need.
The other way.
Actually, you know what? That power play is not too bad.
The Flames power play stinks.
They're not trying to upgrade their power play though right now.
What about Buffalo?
They stink though.
They're not going to be good
They're
enough.
not that good.
What about
I was thinking,
how are the LA Kings?
What about like a team like could the Kings make it work, or like the Rangers or something?
Yeah,
Kings don't have money.
They don't. Okay.
What about a team like the Rangers? They always seem to add
Yeah,
for
they
a push
do.
that never seems to happen.
And Barrie seems like the kind of player where they don't need him at all, but it's like, big name, we should go get him.
Big name, he can move the puck around. He'll improve their power play.
Doesn't he just feel like a guy that the Islanders will just pick up and then they'll miss the playoffs?
Also kind of, yeah.
What about the Devils?
They won't retain on it either.
Oh, Devils might be losing Dougie Hamilton for a while. That might be a play.
Oh, yeah, they could. Yeah, they
Look at old bag milk.
There you go.
Seek and destroy.
But maybe they just want to give Luke Hughes all those minutes.
Luke Hughes needs to keep his head up. That is twice he got demolished.
The Ross Colton one was insane.
Mhm.
I watched it again yesterday. It made me chuckle.
Bravo to Tortorella for calling that out.
Did he call out the player? Or
He just called out the play in general, and he called out the league in general for the fact that we're softening it up. But yes, he used the no-hit league trope, which is whatever. But yeah, he just he said, like, glad to see that Hughes is okay. Upset at the referee for missing that call on the Luke Hughes hit by Hathaway. And then just that the league is working its way out of allowing hitting, and by doing that, or the way that they're doing that is that they're not preparing players to be able to be hit in younger times and earlier times, and then now they're in the NHL and they don't know how to get hit either.
Kind of what Luke Asdick said in the intermission of the last Oilers game. He was just kind of going, kind of got to know who's on the ice.
It's a part of it used to be a part of the game.
You see it so many times now in minor hockey, like, because it's not till U15 that you're allowed to hit.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's crazy because some of those kids will get drafted in U15 to the WHL, and the next season they're playing against 20-year-olds and getting nailed potentially. Like, not every night, but you get a handful of games.
Sure, there's a couple when you get your bell rung.
Yeah, like you need to know. And like I was at a tournament this past weekend in Calgary, and they have this new rule now, like hit to the head, because these kids don't know how to hit and their arms just ride up.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's 10 a game. It is crazy. And it honestly almost damages like the flow of the skill of the game a little bit too.
That's why every morning at Nation HQ we practice by hitting each other coming out of the elevator. It's like a gauntlet situation.
Always got to have your
doors open, head on a swivel. There you come.
I've been caught a couple of times.
Yep.
It's not good.
If you're enjoying a fine pizza roll on a Thursday morning, you better keep
the office linebacker style.
Office linebacker. That is a great ad. That's an all-time ad.
There you go.
That is a great one. OG. I want to change gears a little bit. Again, hit us up on Radio Podcast. Let us know about Philip Broberg, where he could go. I'm also curious, Is it on the player, or is it on the organization, or is it both?
Can I throw out one name for Barrie as well?
Please.
Arizona. I think Arizona's going to make a push and show their fans that they're actually trying to be good. And I don't think that blue line's
Who are their righties?
Matt Dumba. I believe Dursey plays on the left for them. Joshua Brown, Troy Stetcher, and Michael Kesselring.
That could be a sneaky Broberg team.
Their left is Dursey, UC Valimaki, who Broberg is probably better than, and somebody called JJ Moser.
He's good. I like Moser.
See, I say these names and then I hear they're good, but I've literally never heard of them.
Yeah, but they just beat the 5 most recent Stanley Cup champions in a row.
When was your last playoff game, Arizona?
That was basically their playoffs, Liam.
Speaking of which, come with us to Arizona in February. NationGear.ca. It's the perfect Christmas present. Just demand that someone who loves you buys it for you. Mom? Could be dad.
Could be father.
Brother,
sister.
Hello, mother.
Goodbye.
Hello,
could be a stepdad, could be a stepmom, stepbrother, stepsister.
Away from.
Whatever connections you got, make them buy you a trip to Arizona with us. Nation Vacations coming up in February. NationGear.ca, get all the details. We've now launched a no flight package as well. You've been asking, we've been listening. NationGear.ca, that's where you get all the details. Got it? Good. Another thing I want to mention, we did a lot of this on Real Life yesterday. So if you want a full breakdown on Connor McDavid going into Canada's Walk of Fame, listen to yesterday's Real Life.
It's the whole episode. It's nonsense.
Pretty much
the
an
whole
hour.
episode.
What did you even talk about?
Who was there? Who wasn't there? Who's on the list? Who's not on the list?
There was 22 people inducted this year. Why?
22?
Why?
Well, they had some catching up.
Is it new?
No. It's been around since like the 80s.
Well, can you just give me a couple of headliners?
This
Macaulay
year,
Culkin.
Connor McDavid.
Yes.
No,
Not
he
even
was on the
joking.
Hollywood Star.
No, he got his Walk of Fame star this weekend.
That's his Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Hollywood.
This is Canada's
This is
Walk of
Canada's
Fame.
No,
Walk of Fame.
I thought
Yeah,
he was
this
part of
one's
the
in
Canada
Toronto.
one. My bad.
Yeah,
No,
this
this
one's
one's, I would be way more pumped if
That
Macaulay
would be
Culkin was
big,
there.
yeah.
It is Home Alone season after all.
Yeah, it is.
My bad.
Fucking Christmas elf dropped some rum in my cup last night, that little scoundrel. If there's one thing better than sharing memories, it's making new ones. Alberta Blue Cross Travel Insurance protects your memories and more. Wherever travel takes you, visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel. Avril Lavigne was named to Canada's Walk of Fame.
My favorite Canadian artist.
I knew you'd like that one.
Yeah.
Just think, Connor, Avril Lavigne, the rest don't matter.
They're probably next to each other. To be
Probably.
stars, I would imagine.
Sure.
Chad Kroger was there.
Chad was there.
Chad Kroger is wearing a Tragically Hip shirt as well.
Nice touch.
That's a good one.
Very
yeah.
nice.
So anyone else is just
I mean, I don't really want to go through the whole list again.
No, that's fine. I always
Yeah.
feel like with
Listen to Real Life,
with
Liam.
Canadian artists or whoever goes in this Walk of Fame, I never know the Canadian. I just like kind of find out in the moment when they're announced.
That's what it's for.
Best part of Real Life
Yeah.
was Jay finding out what year the weekend went in on.
Oh, yeah, that was
It
a
was so good.
What year the weekend went on?
spoiler. It was earlier than you think.
Because it's just such a random mixed bag of like Glass Tiger just got in this year.
Hang on, I'm gonna get. You know what? I'm gonna give it to Liam. Liam wants to know who went in. I'm gonna give it to him.
So you're telling me the weekend
This
went
is
in
such
before
a-
Avril Lavigne?
That
Yeah,
is
that
that's
is
what we're
like
saying.
outrageous.
12 years earlier.
All right, Liam.
12. That's unbelievable.
That's Jay's reaction.
It's just who opens the envelope when they
That's
get
what I
sent
said.
it.
I said they call like 50 people
Yes.
a year. Just whoever picks up, they're like, you're in.
Avril's
The
like
weekend incorporated his name on Canada's Walk of Fame that weekend.
Wow.
All right, Liam, you ready?
Yeah.
Pay attention. I'm only doing this once. Lee Aaron, April Wine, Tantu Cardinal, Chilliwack, Degrassi, Glass Tiger, Avril Lavigne, Lighthouse, Loverboy, Max Webster, Connor McDavid, Rick Mercer, Brenda Milner, Michael Pagliaro, The Parachute Club, Platinum Blonde, Prism, Michael Budman and Don Green, Rough Trade, Rosalia Bella, Gary Slate, and Trooper.
man,
That was
early on
fucking-
that list was pretty good, and then it got real obscure.
The entire town of Chilliwack inducted into the Walk.
No, that's an old band.
It is. It's an old band.
All right,
20
come on.
people.
We did this whole thing on Real Life.
I wasn't on it.
I don't care. Go back and listen. Sit in your
No.
car. Pretend you were on the podcast.
I was
You know what,
curious.
now I'm
and
having fun
people were
watching
probably
Tyler get back.
curious. So I got a lot of time left.
Yeah.
I'm good now.
I
We're,
thought-
we're done with the topic. I'm ready to move on.
I thought the
You
Canada
kept it
Walk of
going.
Fame had handprints, though. I thought that there was
That's
also a
the
Canada Walk
one
of Fame,
in-
but that's
outside the theater.
the
in LA.
man, the man
Oh, yes.
theater or
I don't
whatever.
know what that theater's
A
called,
hand theater.
but it's the one with the characters outside of it too.
Yes, I thought that was Canada too. My bad.
Can't all be Canada, Dan.
But they signed it. I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Congratulations to Connor McDavid. That is in Toronto. If you're in Toronto, go check out his little spot.
Don't know where it is, but you can find it.
I recommended putting it outside my house so that I could keep it clean and shoveled. Nobody listens. But maybe next year. Maybe when Nuge is inducted.
Maybe in 20 years.
Well, listen, some of these names on this list, you want me to go back to 2022?
That's okay. I'll just listen to real life.
All right. Yeah, Tyler's checked out. Look, he's looking at Instagram.
There was an Ohtani thing that I wanted to read.
Go ahead.
Is he signed?
No, he's not signed. And basically just some writer from LA was like, the Dodgers just blew their chance. Jays are in. And I'll believe anything. So
We will do a full Shohei Ohtani breakdown on the Oilers Nation YouTube channel. Go subscribe. Again, 30K subs by the trade deadline. We get to see Tyler in a boudoir shoot. I will be setting the mood and the tone, taking all the photos. It's going to be very, very erotic. The calendar that comes out soon after will be electric. We will raise some money for charity. And that way, Tyler can't say no.
Yep.
it's always how they get you.
For the kids.
Keep us surprised on Ohtani updates, would you?
Yep.
All right. Gentlemen, this one's going to be a little tricky. We're going to do Who Delivered for our friends at DoorDash. But first, I need to read this verbatim. For a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off and zero delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter the code NATION25. That is 25% off up to $10 value and zero delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter the code NATION25. All caps, by the way. Don't forget, that's code NATION25 for 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Offer valid in Canada, subject to change. Terms do apply. Liam, are you paying attention? What's the promo code?
Nation 25, all caps.
Thank you.
Vanaken's using a white stick today.
It is.
Interesting.
Tony Brar, a fan.
Wow.
I saw that tweet too. Nation Dan, I'm coming down to you first. Obviously, there's been no Oilers game for what feels like several months. So we're going to look back at the last 6 days of your life. Who delivered for you, Dan?
It's going to go out to the city of Boston. It was on Hockey Fights Cancer Night that night. And I'm just going to play the clip for you because it's amazing.
What did that say? Fuck you, who?
Guy just yells out, "Fuck you, cancer!" in the most Boston accent he could, and the entire crowd just goes, "Yeah!" And then the PA announcer comes in afterwards and says, "Thank you," for the moment of silence. So it was absolutely perfect. Boston, you get my delivery of the week. Who delivered? Sorry, I always do that every time.
Liam, no Oilers games. But we still have a segment to do for our friends at DoorDash. Who delivered for you?
My person who delivered was Samuel Leonard, who plays for the Albany Valley Bulldogs. And he scored this unbelievable goal in the BCHL the other day where he fakes going between his legs and then brings it back and then tucks it around the goalie. And the NHL just retweeted it too. It was the craziest. I'll retweet it. Actually, I already did, but I'll do it again if you want to go look at that. It was nuts.
What's the Twitter, Liam?
And my Twitter is @Liam Horban.
Chancellor muted you. Tyler, for our friends at DoorDash, who delivered for you?
Who delivered for me? The NHL did by announcing that they're going to be holding the 2024 NHL draft at the Sphere in Las Vegas.
Whoa.
Hell yes. That is so cool. They're going to be the first major sports league, I believe, to hold an event at the newly opened venue. I think it's going to be cool as hell to see the NHL kind of dominate that now iconic kind of piece of advertising. It's going to be a really neat event. Shout out to the NHL. They delivered. That's about all they delivered on, though.
Shout out to the Sphere also. I don't know if you've seen Liam, specifically you and Dan. Did you see the video of the Sphere watching the F1 race? It was very funny.
With
had his little helmet on.
Yeah, that was really cool. They did a good job of that.
I liked it.
I don't know if you saw, but the NHL also, or at least Gary Bettman, outlined a path towards what the next Best on Best tournament will be.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be so good.
Happening, they believe, I think 2025.
Is there 3 teams in it again?
Yeah, 4 teams.
Perfect.
So when you think Best on Best, you think
cut out most of the world.
Yeah, no Draisaitl, no Pasternak.
All Europeans, essentially.
No Kucherov, no Ovechkin, no Vasilevsky.
No Yossi.
No Yossi.
Subpar players.
Yep.
Anyway.
Best on Best without half of the best.
If you just keep saying Best on Best, it makes it true.
Yep.
That's what I found.
That's true.
Best on Best.
George Costanza. It's not a lie if you believe it.
That is true.
I would just like to point out
it's a Best on Best tournament.
5 scorers in the NHL. Kucherov, he won't be there. Pasternak, who won't be there. We have JC Miller. He'll be there. He's
Who might not make Team USA.
But he's going to be
Yeah.
there, so he's the best.
Panarin won't be there.
No.
And then Kale McCarr will be there, fortunately.
Well, so it's
Well,
best on best.
hey, 2
JT
of
Miller
5.
versus Kale McCarr.
Yeah.
Best on best.
2 of 5, you got 40% there. What do you want?
That's not
Yeah.
bad. That's not
Yeah.
bad. Oh, and
40% of the time, it works every time.
most points by a defenseman. Philip Broberg is third. He will not be there though because he is.
He's
from
not the
Czech
best.
Republic.
Hey.
And Evan Bouchard also wouldn't be there.
Listen,
True.
tell your parents to make love somewhere else.
You listening, Hronix,
You know,
Yeah.
Kucherovs, Yoshis?
had they chosen to birth him in Canada, he would be on.
He
coulda
could have
played.
played in the NHL's made up in season tournament.
If only.
For our friends at DoorDash, I want to give a shout out to Mother Nature for delivering specifically for me. And I feel like for Liam also. It is currently December 5th, 2:19 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and it is 4 degrees.
Although I got caught in a bit of trouble the other day, BM.
Why?
I was driving home from Calgary on Sunday night,
Go ahead.
and I was cruising nice 120 down the 110 down the QE2
105.
until I get to Panoka, and all of a sudden snow everywhere.
Ah.
I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I rented a vehicle, thankfully, but I didn't know if it had winter tires on. So the traffic was a bit congested. It took me 2.5 hours to get home from Panoka the other day on Sunday night.
That is long.
It's usually about an hour, maybe right around there. I was like, holy smokes. But yeah, besides that, the weather has been fine.
Listen, a couple of
and,
flurries from time to time.
hey,
Listen, it's December 5th, man.
I'm expecting it. I don't mind snow, but I'm not begging for it. I'll tell you that much. Like
I don't
said,
mind snow either. I just detest driving on it.
Me too. I like my own safety, believe it or not.
I like just not having delays to get everywhere I want to go.
It's big. I was thinking, can I drive enough time to brake, or am I going through this red light and hoping
Mhm.
nobody nails me the other way?
Yep.
It's a lot of
Will
things.
my window open in the drive-thru? These are very important details to think about. Hey, listen, if you park outside, you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah, that's not
right?
good.
Shout out to Mother Nature. You delivered for me. Ding dong to you, Mother Nature. I appreciate you. And El Nino winters. I think that's this year.
Mhm.
I think I read that. Has Philip Broberg been traded yet? No. Shohei signed with the Blue Jays yet? No. All right.
No, but someone made a great point on Twitter. And again,
Go
I
ahead.
buy into anything. You're telling me Ohtani is so dead set on being a Dodger that after meeting with the Dodgers for a few hours, he flew 5 hours to Dunedin, stayed overnight, and didn't leave till 4 o'clock the next day. Makes you think.
Well, I've never been to Dunedin, but let's look at some of the things that you can do there.
Go to the Blue Jays facility.
Oh, like I see that there's a nice harbor there. You know, there's a nice beach in Dunedin. Maybe check that out.
All of that available in LA.
Listen,
I've never seen
listen,
that.
you're getting caught up in the details now.
You know, I think Ohtani really wants that like homey feel. Dunedin provides it.
He
I
misses
see-
the
Might be in there
snow.
for like 2 weeks.
Probably misses
Bon
the snow in
Appetit
Japan.
Restaurants is highly recommended on visitflorida.com.
But how many dollar signs next to it? That's what I always look at when I look at a restaurant.
3.
See? I guess, Ohtani's getting 600 mil. He can afford to splurge on threes. Usually I'm down in the twos.
Well, you know what? I believe in you, Shohei. That's why I'm wearing your jersey today.
Don't stop believing.
I hope you enjoyed the Dunedin History Museum
Probably went.
and the Caladesi Island State Park boat tour.
He just walks out of the museum. He goes, "This place is fucking incredible. I'm spending every spring here."
Had a quick lunch at Caledonia Brewing. Quick pint.
How many beers on tap? Son of a bitch. I'm in.
Spends a little time at the Yacht Harbor Inn. Fucking beautiful. Took a ride on the Clearwater Ferry Service. There's a lot to like in Dunedin.
How
Yeah.
convenient.
You know,
Oh, I think we.
guy wants to be near the water. Jump aboard the Clearwater Ferry Service, my friend.
That's pretty sick.
It is pretty sick. It is pretty sick. You know what else is pretty sick, Liam?
If you want me to guess,
Let me tell you. Salary cap goes up to $87.7 million next year.
Wow,
What is that? 4 and change, isn't it?
Yep.
Is Connor
So
Brown.
Connor Brown and a little more to spend on something, a little treat.
Connor Brown and a league min contract. Fucking right. But the good news is, like, legitimately, the Oilers have the bulk of their core signed for next year anyway.
Should I
You'd
do
like
math?
a little bit more nibbling room. Yes, I would like your math, Tyler.
All right.
Go ahead.
So with this latest salary cap news,
Mm-hmm.
the Oilers, according to Cap Friendly,
Mhm.
are projected to have $14.22 million in cap space.
Good. Okay.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Let's subtract the 3.25 they'll owe Connor Brown.
Figs.
10.97.
Rascal.
Not bad.
Okay.
Okay, you're gonna need to sign.
A goalie. We'll get there.
potentially a backup goalie. But for now, okay, you're going to need to sign a backup goalie or bring up Jack Campbell. Let's just, for the sake of this exercise, say they bring back Jack Campbell.
Okay.
So 1.1 added to the books. Okay. You need to re-sign Desharnais and Broberg or equivalent spots. But
so Vinny will be there. We'll get a modest lift, but nothing crazy.
probably like 1.5 for Vinny.
Sure.
And then maybe $1 million to get his replacement. So it's minus 2.5 off that.
All right.
All right. We'll go to the forward group. Dylan Holloway should only be $1 million. Right?
Yeah.
Sure.
something
Sit
like
standard.
Yeah.
You would have to potentially replace guys like, or at least the spots in the lineup that are occupied by Janmark and Sam Gagner. But again, league min. So we'll say 1.6, right?
Sure.
1.8. We'll
Warren
splurge a
Fogle.
little. And then you have to replace Fogle and Connor Brown as the final two spots. And you have $4.5 million to do that. It's actually not that bad.
It's not a bad situation to be in.
It's not like terrible, right? Like, again, you're banking on maybe like a Borgo coming up and being a bottom sixer for you. And then you can go spend $3 million on someone. But this also, to Liam's point the other day, adds emphasis into like, if you can get out of Jack Campbell in season this year, and maybe you finish off the deadline with $2 million in cap space, that eats up some of that Connor Brown bonus. There's almost this weird like double dip, if I'm understanding it correct, where getting out from Jack Campbell now will not only give you $5 million in cap space for next summer and next season, but if you can get that Brown money, a little bit of it paid off this year, getting rid of Jack Campbell almost gives you like $8 million in cap space next year, right?
So I want to understand this a little bit too. So the Oilers have to pay Connor Brown $3.25 million next year, right? So if they got a little bit of cap space, does that take away from how much they would have to pay him next year?
Yeah, that bonus
Yeah,
keep
you
him
can fit it
partially
in.
paid off.
So even if this year, for example, they had $500K,
Yep.
it would be $275.
Yep.
Interesting. I thought they had to get the full bulk of it before it to be effective.
You chip away.
You chip away.
A little chip.
It's interesting how this information keeps leaking out over the season, because it was like a week ago on this podcast we said that you had to have the whole thing covered.
I think original Posar.
Yeah, original post.
No, I know. Yeah, it's getting. I understand.
We need people who
and
understand the cap.
That's what happens when you get these like wacky kind of clauses in there and stuff. But
$4 million worth every penny, right, Liam?
Yes. Go Connor Brown.
Giving us a lot of content. So from our perspective, yeah.
This is easier said than done. But I think the Oilers need to find a way, and this is the way I would do it. I wrote about this. I think my forwards article is coming out tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.
Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. I list out 3 options. One of them is an absolute wild card and a pipe dream, but fingers crossed.
It is. It's dare to dream.
But the other 2 on that list are Sean Monahan and Alexander Texier, I believe is how you say his name, right?
Yep.
If you trade Fogle to Columbus, for example, there's a way for you to acquire both of those guys and fit it in the cap.
Yep.
That's how the Oilers need to look at this. Is like, I like Fogle, and I think he's a very effective player for this team. But if you can trade him and get 2 good bottom 6 players,
Fogle and picks to get 2 good bottom 6 players, hell yeah.
They would be so much better.
One of which is a center. Hell
yeah, that's what they need to do. I don't know if it's those 2 guys, for example. They're just 2 guys that work well. I think Texier is like 1.25. And I believe he didn't play in the NHL last season. He played in Switzerland for personal reasons. But then the year before, he wasn't super well liked, but seems to have kind of come back around now. So I think he could be a really good option. 24 years old, and he's on pace to have like 40 points this year. It's pretty good. And they don't want him.
Would you consider signing Henry Richard?
Henry Richard.
Yep.
Richard.
Mm-hmm.
He played in like the 50s.
Well, what's he up to?
I think he might be dead.
Well,
Has his own award, though.
just as good.
Where did that come from?
I don't know.
Do you guys want to know the other player on my list?
Yeah.
is he on the Canada Hawk of Fame?
No.
No, he's not, actually.
And I stated this in my story, and I said this is an absolute long shot, but it makes sense if he was on any other team. Elias Lindholm.
Not happening, buddy.
I know. That's why I said it's a pipe dream. But it makes so much sense for them. Like, you got a guy who can be an elite 2-way centerman at less than $5 million, and he fits the exact bill that the Oilers need. They're not going to get him, because why on God's green earth would Calgary want to help? Like, can you imagine Craig Conroy as one of his first big moves is to trade Elias Lindholm to help the Edmonton Oilers win the Stanley Cup?
After trading Zadorov to help the Canucks.
Yeah, like,
Craig Conroy, good guy.
it wouldn't make any sense to them. But
Pacific Division hero, Craig Conroy.
I'd love him. I'd get into Craig Conroy jersey If we got Lindholm, I get a Conroy jersey.
In
All right.
Oilers.
Yeah, the Oilers
Yes.
specifically with Craig Conroy on.
Never gonna happen, but
Well,
man can dream.
it happens. Let's talk about Jack Campbell. You mentioned him as a potential trade. And I'm paraphrasing. This is what Elliotte Friedman was talking about on 32 Thoughts. The Oilers would like to give Campbell another chance at the NHL before making some decisions on him. I personally don't know how that's going to happen, given some of the absolutely atrocious goals he's given up with the Condors as recently as his last start.
It's been terrible.
Yeah, I mean, he had those 3 good games. There starts to be some talk that maybe they want to recall him. A little bit of pressure, and he crumbles, right? It's the Jack Campbell experience. And I understand where they're coming from of like, hey, before we go trade assets, like at the end of the day, this guy was a backup for them last year. And, you know, he had some runs where for 5-6 games, he looked okay. At $5 million, you probably do want to see if you can catch lightning in a bottle for a couple more months with Jack Campbell before you give up a 2nd-round pick for James Reimer, right? But with the point the Oilers are at where every win is still so important, like, they're resuming play tomorrow in 29th place in the NHL. Everyone thinks this 4-game winning streak is like saved the season and they're back in a wild card spot. They are 29th in the NHL right now.
29th out of what? 300?
Exactly.
In a few years when they expand.
Yeah, when they expand. You can't start Jack Campbell and be like, well, fingers crossed, hope he doesn't cost us this one. The Oilers can't afford that right now. That's why I said last week, wait till later in December. You can give Pickard the Chicago game. You could probably find another game in the schedule to give Pickard when it's the back-to-backs. He's been fine in his game in a bit. Give Pickard those games. Let Campbell keep getting healthy. And let's see if the Oilers can climb up the standings, because you know what? If you're in a playoff spot by the end of December, maybe then you could be like, let's give Jack a little run here. Let's see what he can do. And then we know if we need to make a panic trade or not.
I don't think anybody that looked at this situation, I would hope, believed that the Oilers weren't going to try and get Jack back up into the NHL again and again if they could. His 3-game stretch of winning just made that conversation happen a little bit sooner than I think anybody wanted it to. But yeah, I mean, realistically, this team isn't going to go out and sign Jack Campbell and then just banish him to the AHL and never keep giving him a shot if he's showing something in the AHL that's worth giving another chance in the NHL with. So yeah, I don't know. I just think that 3-game win streak helped his case, but at the end of the day, I don't think the organization was ready to pull him up anytime soon.
I just think that the 2 goal, I beg you, go to Bruce Carlock's Twitter and find the goals that Jack Campbell allowed. Was that Friday, Saturday, or Sunday? Doesn't matter.
Saturday, I believe.
Saturday. They're so bad.
They're never the same.
Any of us could have stopped those shots.
The weird part is it almost looked like he moved out of the way of them a little bit. Like
It's like Tyler said, the
position.
Oilers do not have the luxury of being able to piss away games, hoping Jack Campbell can find his game. And that is a cold thing to say. But guess what? Pro sports are a cold motherfucker.
Unfortunately for Campbell, they don't owe him anything. Like
Except the money he's owed.
except the paychecks. But he hasn't earned the opportunities similar to. It's not the same argument as Broberg, just a different position in the sense of like he has done nothing to prove himself to be on this team. Like for me, he has to have like 10, 12 games in a row where he's elite. Like he can't like. I think you can excuse maybe one of those goals on Saturday. Like the first,
Sure, it happens.
The first shot of the game, it's okay. Like whatever, like kind of not in your mojo or anything. You got the rest of the game, you still allowed 5. You know, like it's not like they lost the game 2-1. Like they allowed 5. I just think for Campbell, if he has 12 games in a row, 10, 12, whatever it may be, where he's unbelievable, nothing bad is going in, they're scoring good goals against him, his confidence is going to be through the roof, and you can probably keep that momentum going. But if you go 3 games of like, yep, really, really good, and then you do that, and then really good for however many games, like it's just not about good rhythm. When you know in your head, it's like, oh, well, played 3 good games in a row now. This next one, what if I do it? Like, what if this is the game? Like, he needs to get to a standard where he knows every single night he's going to be good enough to play.
I have zero confidence he'll rattle off 10 straight good.
It's just like, to me,
don't think he should ever play for the Edmonton Oilers again.
To me, if he allows those goals that he did on Saturday with the Oilers,
it would be the
could
end.
you imagine if that was at home?
Jesus.
Like, it's not going to work.
One thing that really, really didn't help him when he went down to Bakersfield is that his first game was in Abbotsford and his second game was in Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're basically in 2 NHL markets. Well, you are.
Well, and a bunch of
definitely in
people
one.
went there because Jack Campbell.
Yeah, exactly. Like we got that those quotes from him.
Yes.
Because we have Canucks Army like 10 minutes away. Like,
Yes.
Just
We send somebody to Abbotsford for that.
yeah, like it's so unfortunate and
It sucks, man.
like
Because you
see
feel
that-
for the guy on a personal level, but ultimately, as a
100%.
fan of the Edmonton Oilers, you need to stop pucks.
Results driven
Like,
business.
how can you not sit there and think Calvin Pickett is your best option out of those
He is.
two right now?
He is.
Like, and he's pretty chaotic too, to be honest. But at least there's no expectations.
Well, and that's the problem with Campbell. Ultimately, if there's any semblance of expectations, he seems to kind of collapse on himself.
Yep, super unfortunate.
It is. It's unfortunate. I feel for him as a person. He seems like a sweetheart of a guy. All that stuff remains true.
That video he made for that kid,
awesome.
the goalie,
Amazing.
super cool. And that, you know what, I think that speaks a lot to who he is as well. Because sometimes, and I don't watch the American Hockey League that much, but like guys could go down there and probably not say a word to anybody. But he's gone out to the media, he's done interviews, he's facing music a little bit down there, he's helping out in the community. Like he doesn't have to do any of that stuff, and he's doing it. So from that standpoint, it's like I hope he does turn this around.
For
But
Jack
it's
Campbell as a
tough.
person, I hope he turns it around. He seems like a great guy, seems like a sweetheart. He's doing things, like Liam said, above and beyond where he needs to be down in the AHL. I imagine he's probably picking up team dinners like crazy for the boys down there. I imagine all that stuff's true. But unfortunately, the reality is what Tyler said. The NHL is a results-driven business. And the results are just not there.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks. Do you think he comes back at all?
Yeah, we'll see him again this year.
Liam, what do you think? I know what you want, but what do you think?
Yeah, I think they will. I think they have no choice but to do that.
Dan?
Yeah, I've always said that he's going to be back.
Now it is time to bring Waz in for his signature bit. Can you clear that up for me?
Stream out.
Let's go.
That's still good.
Yep.
All right, for our friends at Greta, our hospitality partner for the season, we've got more events coming up as the year goes along at Greta. Best time. Go play some vids, have something to eat, have yourself a cocktail. The Oilers play tomorrow. That's your pregame spot, right?
It's a good time.
Of course it is, Waz. Now time for your signature segment. Can you clear that up for me? Go ahead, Waz.
So the first one, of course, I don't know what you guys have already talked about. So the first one I have here is, why did McDavid get a Walk of Fame induction before someone like Sidney Crosby? There's been a lot of talk of like, why is he getting inducted and not like, for example, Crosby because he won cups, and what has McDavid done? Like McDavid's offensively been one of the best players in the
I think Dan
world.
just has the answer for it.
Yeah.
I've got the answer. Either him or Lauren opened the envelope.
Yeah,
all
Sid
it
just
is.
doesn't check
That's
his
it.
mail.
Like honestly, Sidney Crosby doesn't do anything really. Like, have you seen Crosby in any kind of like pop culture thing in Canada? I just think that
Outside of
McDavid
Tim
does.
Hortons commercials?
He did that Sportsnet thing this year.
What was that?
Oh, wait, what?
The thing with Connor Bedard. Do you remember they hyped that up?
Yeah.
Yeah, but also I agree in the sense of like, not in a rude way, but like, what has McDavid done on like to get to this point? Like, it sounds awful to say because he's obviously an elite player, but like you said, there's like Crosby, who is the golden goal guy. Like, just kind of weird. Is Wayne Gretzky on the list?
Here's my honest answer.
Yes.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Probably because Connor's from Toronto. If the Canada Walk of Fame was in Halifax, and Sid would probably be there.
Yep.
Or McDavid wouldn't have gone, right? Like it's easy enough for him to be like, I'll go back to Toronto for a weekend. We got the weekend off. Like, let's go. Yeah, it's just whatever. My favorite thing was the reporter on the red carpet who said, would you trade your star on the Walk of Fame for a Stanley Cup? And McDavid was like, yeah, I think I would.
Nope. You know what? This means the world to me. It is a thing people will walk on as they go about their business. Yeah.
Just to bring up Crosby a little bit, it's kind of interesting how he's barely like on social media too, and like you never see
I
him
respect
in
it.
many.
Sid is the ultimate robot.
He's never been on
There-
a NHL cover either.
You have to remember that he came into the league in the early 2000s when this was all that stuff was just getting started. Like social media was just an early days thing. And early in Sydney's career, he was vilified on social media and around the internet. So there's just no reason for him to be there.
It's weird to hear you call him Sydney.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
I just never
It is his name.
I know, but it's like Sid. It's like Adele, right?
So next question up here is how
What's
much
the
blood-
long term of
Yeah,
Adele?
where's that going?
Can't go past that one.
Well,
Law,
it's
sorry.
just Adele. Like
Madonna.
Sydney.
Beyonce.
What else is Adele called?
LeBron. She's not called LeBron.
But like, whatever. Let's just
you never call him James. Go on. Anyway.
Clear this up for me, Liam.
who are you even referencing there?
LeBron James.
Oh,
Exactly.
But he's not calling him Crosby.
I have a cousin named James that listens to this podcast. He's fired up right now.
But some people do call him Braun.
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 Bronny
Yeah.
James.
There you go.
That's his kid was. Okay, let's go, Waz. What's next?
So of course you guys have probably already touched on Broberg, but how much blame would you put on Ken Holland for drafting Broberg, as he was only on the job for around like under 50 days when Broberg got drafted?
That's an interesting question, actually.
Yeah, but you should still know. Like, come on. He was in Detroit. Like, he
would still have his like.
And
'cause
your
when you
pros-
brought over Tyler Wright at the same time,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly.
Well, and you're the one that signs the dotted line, so it's your decision at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
put-
all of it.
100% of the blame. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, you're the GM. You're going to get credit for the good picks. You got to take the brunt of the bad picks. Like,
Well, now let's ask the scout, though.
I would say not all of it.
What's your percentage?
40-60
40-60 for whomst.
for the blame going on the scouts. Tyler Wright was in Detroit still.
Oh, was
His
it?
last draft was this draft because he drafted Cider.
Gotcha.
I think Holland's got to go into that room and show that he trusts his scouts. So therefore, if they
So
say
60% goes to the scouts.
yeah, I would put the blame on the scouts for that one.
There you go. Voice from a scout. Was.
Nice. Last one here. Clear this up for me. Decentralizing the draft benefits the NHL. How?
From a marketability standpoint, your players are the focus instead of the teams and the drama around the teams and the time that it takes to get the teams up to the stage and all that.
I'm actually going to default to Tyler because you've actually been to the draft.
yeah. So some people think it's harder to like make trades and stuff around the draft when everyone's on the draft floor and every team can see you go talk to someone. So I think it could lead to some increased trade activity. And also it should make for a better TV product when you don't have every team going up with 18 people to take the photos slowly wandering up. Like,
It does take forever. The
Takes
first round
forever.
takes 9 years.
yeah, it should never be like that. So I think that's what it is. It makes it a better TV product and it benefits the teams specifically. It's also going to save money for teams, right? They don't have to fly all 25 of their scouts to Nashville or LA or Vegas or wherever. Like, you just keep them at your home rink.
One thing, sorry, Dan,
Yeah.
that I think like the trade thing, the NFL has always done it this way. And I wrote about this a while ago and Frank brought it up on Oilersnation Every Day. At the last NHL and NFL draft, there was 6 trades were made on the NFL draft day, including 4 of the first top 10 picks. 9 trades were made throughout the NHL draft and not one first round pick was moved.
Yeah,
I think it might,
snooze fest.
yeah, it might spice things up on that front too.
I just want to confirm that this draft at the Sphere is not going to be
Yeah,
decentralized,
I think this
right?
is the last one.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
they're going out
last.
with a bang.
So what does like decentralized mean? Is there no locations at all? Like,
There'll still be a location, but it'll just be the prospects and maybe like 1 or 2 team representatives. The GMs and the scouts
There's
will
just gonna be
stay at their
Batman.
home rinks.
You ever seen the movie Draft Day was?
actually, I don't think I have.
All right.
Is it just going to be Bettman then? Just welcoming them
Yeah,
up,
pretty much.
shaking hands.
So, like,
He's
the
Roger
top 10
Goodell.
picks, basically, kind of thing.
Yeah,
And then
it's
all the
NFL.
players that are draft eligible will be there.
They
in
will
the front.
they will invite players into the,
Mhm.
I think they call it the green room or whatever.
Okay.
And then
No
those players will-
fans, nothing like
No,
that.
fans will be there.
Fans-
You can still do fans.
okay.
Yeah.
The focus
Just the
will be
team
more
standard.
on the fans. It's just you're eliminating the element of having the teams fill up a lot of that
Like
space.
when you're at the draft in person, like 20 minutes before, they do a bloody roll call. They go through every team and they like Bill Daly sends fine goes Arizona and they go here. Like it's painfully boring to sit through.
Interesting.
It is funny though, like Ken Holland talking to so and so at that table. That
Yeah.
stuff's all going to go away,
Yeah.
even though it never really amounts to anything.
Well, at least you don't have
Exactly.
to hear like all 32 teams thank the city and
Oh,
everything.
right.
Like, oh my god, we'd like to thank this and this and this. For,
Takes so long.
And congratulations,
First
to
round
Vegas
this year.
Golden Knights on winning your Stanley Cup.
First round was what, like 5 hours this year?
Oh,
It was
So long.
forever,
It was like 3
and there was no trades. It was
I-
painfully
I
boring.
love the draft, but it is boring as all heck.
I think I left the venue before the end of the first round this year. I was like, this
I
stinks.
feel like well, that one was unique because you have Dard, but after that,
Once Carlson went it too, there was no surprises or anything. The first round was boring.
okay. Well, thank you
There
for
you go.
doing this all for me. Fantastic.
There's Waz. He has been cleared up. I like that one on the way. Sometimes you make Waz giggle.
it's true.
That's all you need. That's all you need. Well, gentlemen, I'm out of plugs. I'm out of sponsors. I'm out of segments. I'm out of news. Do we get one final Shohei check-in? Is that what you're doing over there?
I heard.
Yeah.
I read something about him being upset now that the Dodgers have leaked information.
That is a
So
joke,
from Bob
sir.
Nightingale, Roberts, the Dodgers manager, spoke freely and relaxed for 20 minutes, but his face became serious as he spent several moments reading a text message on his phone. After his media session, he immediately huddled with Dodgers PR officials.
Like, why is it not okay that, like, it's so obvious? Like, everybody knows.
No.
I think that, but I think it's like the
respect
old
thing.
adage of you come into a venue and you ask for only green M&Ms. It's not really about the fact that you want green M&Ms. It's just having that control. It's showing that they care that much about you to have those green M&Ms.
I think it's a little bit of a respect factor, I guess, because like if Shohei said no leaks or you're out, my boy's running his mouth when he shouldn't have.
It's a challenge.
That is kind of wild.
You know,
Well, this could be big, folks.
could be.
I don't know a lot about baseball, but I know this will probably be the third biggest deal in North American sports history, right behind LeBron and Messi.
I want to read something for you, if I can find it really quickly, because it was about our conversation from the other day about which player would be the biggest.
Oh,
I can't find it in my fucking Instagram.
did someone send you something?
Yeah, it was somebody from England going, without a doubt, LeBron is bigger. Nobody know. We watch more basketball than we watch baseball.
Yes, no doubt about it.
So LeBron bigger than Shohei, Tyler.
In England?
In Europe.
Yeah, but in Asia.
Yeah, but in
These goalposts are going over here now.
If we're talking worldwide.
If we're talking worldwide, it's Messi.
Ah, here we go.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Worldwide, this is from Tom Booth. Tommy Twos, he wants to be known as on Instagram.
Hey, Tom.
1 Messi, 2 LeBron, 3 Ohtani. Purely on worldwide status, LeBron would be more known than Ohtani over here in England, as baseball is watched way less than basketball.
But you know what? That might change a lot this upcoming Olympics because they have baseball in the Olympics now.
I think it would
Which
also.
is going to be big.
When's the Olympics?
It's next summer in Paris.
Ooh,
I think the other thing that helps
Paris,
LeBron's
one of your favorite
case
cities.
I love Paris.
is
That's
the
when I left.
championships that LeBron has won versus.
He's been in the league
Yeah.
longer, had
Yeah.
more
Yeah,
platforms.
like-
Yeah, sure.
He's
How many more years does
more-
LeBron have left anyway?
Until
He's
Bronny
He's my
plays.
age.
You don't
He's
have to retire in
unbelievable.
basketball, really. You could just play off the bench if you want to.
Yeah, I don't think he would.
I don't think it will either, but
he's so good still. It is crazy how good he is at this point.
look at Ovechkin.
Look at Sid.
Sid.
Sydney.
All right, there you
Ovechkin
have it.
saved the league.
Go subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's number 1. 2, get a friend to buy you a nation vacation. That's number 2. 3, nation gear. Put it under your tree. There's 3. Shout out to Wendy's. Shout out to DoorDash. Shout out to Alberta Blue Cross. And
Shout out to
Greta.
Walls.
shout out to Waz. Also, check out our socials. We're going to be going to Jasper for the pond hockey tournament in January. Just watch out for that. You're going to want to join us. Tyler, it's a good time.
It is so much fun. It is one of, if not my favorite weekend of the year.
Have a great week, everybody.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.